We are live. Hi everyone, welcome back to Codera. Today in this particular video, we'll be discussing the Leetcode daily challenge, that is rotate array. So in this particular problem, what we'll be doing is like we have been given an array and we have to rotate it clockwise k times. So this particular video, this particular problem has been asked in a lot of organizations. Like it has been asked previously in Facebook, it has also been asked in Amazon, Microsoft, it's also asked in Google, right? So we'll be discussing this problem. Apart from this, just give me a +1 in the chat if my voice is clearly audible to everyone and my screen is also visible, so that we can start with this particular session for today. And in this particular session, like I'll be explaining you various ways to do this particular ways to approach this particular problem. Like this problem, as I told you, has been asked in a lot of organizations. So before moving on, if you haven't subscribed our channel, that is Codera, so you can consider to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because we will be bringing today also we'll be bringing the codeforces editorials and Leetcode editorials for the contest that have happened just now. So this was about the channel. Just give me a +1 in the chat if everyone is able to hear my voice, and then I'll start with the problem, right? Shall I start? Just give me a +1. Okay, so like in this particular problem, like you have been given that you have to rotate the given array, and you will be given an array. You have to rotate, basically you have to rotate it by k steps in the clockwise direction, like in the front direction. So if you have been given something like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, right, and you have been given k as 3, right, let's try and build the solution for it. If you have been given the array as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and you have been given k as 3, so in this case what you have to do is you have to shift the array by 3 space, right? So what will happen in that case? The element 1, which is at the first index, it would move to the 4th index, right? The element 2, which is at the second index, it would move to the 5th index, right? Because 2 plus 3 would be 5, something like this. This is what you have to do. Let me use the whiteboard to explain this to you a little better. So if I suppose that I have this array that is 1 2 3 4 5 6 and then 7, right? If I have this particular array given to me, so in this particular case what I could do is I have this particular array. So with this particular array, what I have to do is, if I have been given k value as 3, so I have to rotate it k times. I have to shift it k times, right? What does that mean? So basically the elements have to shift by k position, right? So from this particular position, this element 1 would shift to this particular position, right? Like this, like something like this. Let me write it better in a better format. Let's first of all check the test cases. Okay, right. So from what will happen, this 1 would go here, this 2 would go here, this 3 would go here, and this 4 would go here, and this this element, all these elements would shift by these much. Can I get schedule of the lectures? Yes, Praveen. Basically we have Leetcode daily challenge. Like Leetcode daily challenge is every day 4 p.m. you can say, around about 4 p.m. and if you are talking about the recording, so we'll be doing it and then we'll be premiering it, or we'll be doing the live stream of it. That will depend on the situation, right? So if you have this particular problem, so you have to rotate it like this. So let me just first of all tell you what has been given to us. So this has been given, and what you have to give as an output, let me write that as well. So in the output that you are expected, so in the output you are expected to write something like this: 5 6 7, then 1 2 3 4, right? So you have to write 5 6 7 and then 1 2 3 4, right? So you have to basically shift this array k times, right? You have to shift this array k times. So what you have to do is you have to rotate array by k positions, right? K positions. So every element will have to move by k positions. Like if this 1 was standing at this index 1, so now it is standing at this index 4. So basically it is moving by k positions, right? So one thing that you could do is, one of the most basic things that we could do is, like we need k steps, right? We need to rotate the array by k steps. So what we could do is, in the first step, what I could do is I could use a step 1 and I could shift the array by 1. So that would mean that this element 7 would come in this beginning, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, like this, right? After that I have this particular array. With this particular array, what I could do, I like not 7 wouldn't be at the end, right? 7 wouldn't be at the end now, right? I have this particular array. Then what I could do in the step 2, I can shift it again by 1 index, right? So again it would happen, 6 would come in the beginning, 6 7, then 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4, and then 5, right, like this. Now in the step 3, what I could do, I can again shift it by one element, right? I can shift it by one element. So this would mean that the last element 5 would come in the starting, so 5, 6, 7, and then 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4, like this, right? So this is the final answer. Is this much part clear to everyone? Like from this particular given array, if you rotate it 3 times, if you shift, every time you shift it by one index, every time you shift each element by one index, then in k steps you can shift it completely, right? Is this much part clear, right? In k steps you can shift it completely. So that is what I am saying. Like if you have been given an array, you just like, if you shift it k times, you shift each element by one at one particular step, you shift each element by one, right, towards the right. And in the end, what happens is, if you are doing this regularly, for k times, then the array would be k shifted or rotated. It would become rotated but it increases the code, which is not feasible. Yes, right. So in this particular case, what will happen like, let me tell you about the time complexity as it has been told by Pranav, right? Pranav is saying that if we are doing it for the one time, if we are doing this one step, how much time one step takes? One step takes order of n time, because we are moving each element by one index, right? So if you are doing this for k steps, right? If you are doing this k times, so this would mean order of n into k, right? So this is not feasible for us. This is something that is not feasible. Order of n into k, it's not feasible, right? So can we do something better than this? Yes, we can do it in a linear approach. We can do this in order of n, right? Why? If I will talk about it, so this is nothing but approach number 2 for this particular problem. What I could do is, I could use extra space, right? I could use extra space. What do I mean by that? So if I have an array, let's say this is the array that has been given to me, that is 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let me draw it clearly, right? So if I have been given this particular array, so with this particular array, what I could do is, if this has been given to me, and as the output, what is expected from me, expected is something like this, right? Expected is 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So this is what has been expected from me, right? So what I could do is, I could make a duplicate array, right? I could make a duplicate array, and like, I could make a duplicate array. So I could make a duplicate array like 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, 5, 6, and 7, like this, right? I could make a copy array, a duplicate array of the given array, right? I could make a copy, and then I could shift it, right? How I could shift it? What I want to tell you is, like, let me just draw this once again, right? Let me just draw this once again so I can tell you better. So if I have, let's say, the given array, the given is this much. The given array is nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? And what do I have as the copy array? Copy array I have made is nothing but 1, 2. Again, I have copied it, like I have copied it completely, so that I have the elements, right? Now what I want to do with a particular index, I want to shift each index by k, right? So if I have, like, this is the given array, let's say this is nothing but nums, right? This is nothing but nums array, right? So what I want to do is, I can start a loop for I starts from 0 and I is lesser than n, right? I is lesser than n means nums dot size. I can say nums dot size as well. That's perfectly fine. And I'll do an I plus plus, and I'll shift the elements, right? Since I have a copy, so it does not matter if the element gets lost, right? So that's why what I will be doing is, I'll say nums of I plus k, right? I plus k, right? Is this part clear to everyone? Mod k, it would be equal to nothing but copy of I, right? Because I want this particular ith element to reach I plus kth position, right? If this one is standing here, so I want to reach it to this particular position, right? I want 1 to be here, right? So the final array that I want is this, something like this. Let me tell you what I want as the output. So I want 5, 6, 7, then I want 1, 2, 3, and 4, like this, right? So I want this 1 to be here, right? So this is what I can do with this is, I can have its index would be 0. I can add k to it, so it would be 3 mod, like it would be mod with n, right? Sorry, it would be mod with n, so that I keep it in the particular situation, right? Is this much part clear to you, Pranav? Right? I can change it, like if I have the last element, right? Let's talk about the last element. So if I have the last element 7, right? So 7's index is what? Index of 7 is 6, right? So if I add 6 plus 3 gives me 9, but I do not have an index 9 with me, right? Since I do not have an index 9 with me, so what I can do is, I can mod it with the size of the array, that is n, that is the size of the array. So what will I get? I'll mod it with 7, so I'll get 2. I'll get 2. And if you look in the final array, so this is what the index is. This is the index number 0, this is the index number 1, and this is the index number 2. So in the final array, like, you should be having 7 at the index number 2, and this is what you will get, like I plus k would give me what? I plus k, currently my I is 6, right? I is 6 and k is 3, so I plus k would be 9, and you do 9 mod 7, so 9 mod 7 gives me 2. So at the index 2 I want 7, and that is what I would copy, right? This is how it will happen, right? I hope that this much part is also clear. Now this is something that we have done, but this particular approach is also a little bit time taking for us, right? Because why this approach is a little bit time taking, like, it's not time taking, basically it's basically a little bit space consuming, right? So for this particular approach, the time complexity would be order of n, because we are traversing through the array only once, and we have the space complexity as nothing but order of n. Why? Because we are making a copy array, right? Copy array, because we will lose the elements, right? They will get overwritten. How they will get overwritten? So if I have like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and if I want this one to be at this place, so I'm doing this now, 1 2 3, and then this is becoming 1, then this is 5 6 and 7, right? So I'm getting this 4 value lost, right? At this particular position I'm having 1, but this value is getting lost. That is why I'll make a copy array, right? That is why I'll make a copy array, so that I can put each of the ith element at its position, right? This is why I'm making a copy array, because otherwise the element would get lost, right? If I want at this particular index, I'm assuming that there was 4, but actually I've updated it with 1, right? So that's why I need a copy array, so that I can have a track of it. Now there's a third approach for this particular problem, right? What's the third approach for this particular problem, right? Let me write. First of all, let me show you the code part for the second approach that I have told you. So what I would be doing is, like, base cases, you need to check if the number of rotations that you have to do, if it is 0 or lesser than 0, that depends on the question. So if it's 0, if you do not have to do any rotations, in that case you will simply return without doing anything. Or if the size of the array is 0, in that case also you will return. Otherwise you will make a copy of the array, right? You will make a nums copy, you will make a copy array, and for the ith element you want to shift it by k, so I plus k mod n, right? Because you want it to be in the indexes only, because I plus like if I was 6 and k was 3, so it would be 9, but actually 9 is what? 9 mod 7 would be 2, so you want 7 to be at the index number 2, right? So that's why you'll do it, right? So nums of I is equal to this, and in the end it would just happen, right? It would just get implemented like this. It would just get done in order of n space complexity and order of n time complexity. But we could have approach 3 to it, right? We could also have approach 3. What's the approach 3? Approach 3 is in place, right? What does it mean? It means that we have to observe a particular pattern with this particular question. 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, you have this thing, right? What do you want as the final result? You want k is equal to 3, so you want to rotate it by 3, right? Every element you want it to be rotated by 3. Hi Aman, right? So if you have 5 6 7 and you have 1 2 3 4, this is the final, this is what has been given to you, and this is what you want as the output, right? I'm correct, okay? This much part must be clear to everybody, right? Now this has been what's been given to me, and this is what you want in the end. Now what you could observe is, if you just reverse the given array, right? If I just reverse, first of all I reverse, what will I get? I'll get 7, I'll get 6, I'll get 5, then I'll get 4, I'll get 3, I'll get 2, I'll get 1. So this is nothing but I have reversed the given array. Now what I need to observe is, now observe one thing. Observe for the first k elements, right? For the first 3 elements, for the first k elements, these are the k elements, right? And these are the k elements. Is there any relation between these and the, like, these are the first k elements, right? These are the first k elements, and these are the last n minus k elements, right? These are the last n minus k elements. Do you have something observation, like this is the reverse array that I currently have, and this is the final output? Can you give me some observation with this? With this, do you observe something? Can you observe a pattern in this, right? For these particular k elements, for these particular leftover elements, do you observe a pattern in this? Just quickly comment down below. Can you see that they are just reverse? Like this particular 765 is nothing but if you reverse this particular segment of the array. So if you just reverse this first part, that is 765, if you just reverse it like this, so it would become 567, right? Then this part 4 3 2 1, if you just reverse it, so it would become 1 2 3 4, right? Like this. Is this much part clear to everybody? I hope that you can observe this, right? If you can observe this, please give me a +1 in the chat. A quick +1 in the chat would help us, right? Give me a +1 in the chat if you can observe this thing, right? You have this part, you have this part, and you have this part, and you have this part, right? This is the reversed array that you have, this is the output that you want. You just try to find the relation between the two. Try to find the relation between the two. Give me a +1 in the chat if you're clear with this thing, right? If you're clear with this part, that what we are actually doing is nothing but we are trying to see the observation, right? You just reversed it, and when you reversed it, so you could easily see that the first k elements that you have, if you just reverse this particular segment of the array, if you just reverse this particular segment of the array, then you will get what you want, right? So let's do this part for this particular question, right? You have this much particular segment, so you just reverse it. So what will be the output now? Like what you will be nums of, what will your nums array look like? So it would look like, if you reverse this part, so it would be 5 6 7, right? Like this, and then you pick this part up, and you reverse it as well, reverse this particular segment as well, so it would be nothing but 1 2 3 and 4, like this, and this is how you get the final output, right? If this part is Pranav is saying clear, okay, about you, Aman, what about others? Please write clear in the chat, everyone else also, so that I know that this part is clear, right? So this was a basic observation, like in place. So with this, what would happen is the space complexity would become order of 1, because we are not changing the array, we just reverse the given array. Given array was there, you just reversed it, and then you observe that you have 7 6 5 and you have 5 6 7. So the first k elements are reversed in itself, and the last n minus k elements are also reversed in themselves, right? So this is why you just reverse this much part, this much segment, and this much segment. So you have to reverse, first of all you have to reverse the complete array, right? What do you have to do actually, right? I'll tell you, right? So what do you have to do is you have to follow 3 steps, right? Step number 1 is you reverse the array, right? You reverse the array nums. So what you do, you have 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 4. Let me write it without commas, right? So you have 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 4, you have 5, you have 6, you have 7, right? So you just reverse this, so this becomes 7 6 5 4 3 2 and 1. Also notice what was the final answer. Final answer was 5 6 7 and then 1 2 3 4, right? So you have this particular thing. Now you have k is equal to 3, right? Notice that you have k is equal to 3. So what you could do is you could observe between these elements, right? You observe between these elements, right? So these elements and these elements, what do you observe? You observe that, okay, you can reverse this particular segment, right? So you reverse the first k segment, and when you reverse it, so it becomes 5 6 and 7, right? You reverse this particular segment, so it becomes this, and when you reverse this particular segment, right, 4 3 2 1 4 3 2 1, so it should look like 1 2 3 4, right? So that's what will happen, and actually this is the nums that you need to return, like this is the nums that you finally wanted, right? So that is what you will do. Like second part, what you will do is you will reverse from begin, right? You will reverse from begin till the first k elements, right? What I want to say is you want to reverse first k elements, right? You will reverse first k elements, right? This is what you would do, and then next up what you will do is you will reverse the last n minus k elements, right? Last n minus k elements, the segment of the last n minus k elements, and in this way you will be able to rotate your array by k positions, right? K positions, right? This is what you will be able to do, and you will be able to do, the time complexity for this would be order of n, because you have to traverse it order of n time. For once you have to traverse it, and the space complexity would be order of 1. Now let me tell you how you would write the code. Now you will think that, okay, this might be a little bit tough, but believe me, it's not, right? What you have to do is basically you can have k as, like, you can have k, like, let's suppose that the value of n is something like 7, right? If the array size is n and you have to rotate it 17 times, then in like you have, let's say if you have to rotate it 16 times, right? If you have to rotate it some number of times, that's not been mentioned to you, right? If you have to rotate it, let's say 16 times, so in that case, how will you do it, right? So that means you have to mod it with 7, and then whatever result you are getting that many number of times, so that means the actual value of k would be 2. So if it's greater than n, if the k value is greater than n, then in that case you need to keep a check that whether or not it's actually doable or not, right? Because you want k, first k elements is what, something that you want to be in the range of the array size, right? So that's why you will do k is equal to k mod n, right? First of all you will do this, right? This much part must be clear. Then what you will do is, if you are having a vector, so you will do first of all reverse, let's say nums you have, so nums dot begin, okay, comma nums dot end. So I'll reverse the first of all the array that's been given to me, right? This was the first step that I told you I will be doing. Now in the second step, what I would be doing, I would be reversing the first n segment. So that would be nothing but, I would say that reverse nums dot begin, comma nums dot begin plus k, right? Something like this. So this would reverse the first k elements, right? This would reverse the first k elements. Basically this is nothing but reversing first k elements, right? First k elements of the given array, right? After this, in the third step, what you will do, you will say that okay, let's reverse the last n minus k elements. So you'll say that let's reverse nums dot begin, which it would begin at the kth element, right? So nums dot begin plus k comma nums dot end, right? Nums dot end. This is how you would do it, right? Please give me a +1 in the chat if this part is clear. For this, the time complexity that you will take is order of n, and the space complexity that you will take is order of 1, because this is nothing but in place type of thing that you are doing, right? Quickly like the video and give me a +1 in the chat if this much question and the solution and the approach is clear to everyone, right? Aman and others, you can just give me a +1, right? Let me show you how we'll implement this in the second portion. So what I'll be having is, it's pretty much simple, right? You don't have to do anything much. Basically you just have the nums array and you will have k. So you just find out the size, then you do k is equal to k mod n, because if the k value is larger than n, in that case you don't want any segment fault or anything like that. So you just simply reverse first of all the whole array. So what will happen if you have been given like this, first of all 1 2 then 3 then 4 then 5 then 6 and then 7. So what you will do first, you will first of all reverse the array. So how will it look like? It would look like something like this. It would look like this, 7 then 6 then 5 then 4 then 3 then 2 and then 1, right? It would look like this. Now after that, once you reverse the first k element, so how will it look like? 5 then 6 and then 7, right? And this is how it would look like, and then the rest of the part would be the same, 4 3 2 1, right? 4 3 2 1. But once, what will happen in this part, like this much part is getting reversed, right? This much part is only getting reversed, this much part is getting reversed, right? Like okay, so what is happening, this much part is getting reversed, this much part, the first k element. So it would look like 5 6 7. After that you will reverse this much part. So for this you will write this code. After this code is executed, so it would look like 5 6 7, and then this would look like 1 2 3 and 4, and that's what the final output that you want from this question. Like you can see 5 6 7 and then 1 2 3 4, right? Let me show you that I have implemented the same code. This is the same code that I have implemented, so I'll submit it for you to show that it's actually working. So you can see that it's getting submitted. You can see that it got accepted, right? So this was the approach that I wanted to tell you. If you like my explanation, so you can like this video, you can share it with your friends. If you like the way that we have tried to approach it, thanks a lot Aman as well. Also, if you like this, like we are trying to build in a lot of things, we are trying to build this channel as a community, as something like we are trying to, you will find a lot of solutions, but what we are basically trying to do is, if you'll see, I am trying to take these live sessions daily, like Leetcode daily problems daily, every day. Apart from this, I have also done codeforces mastering series. I'll also be recording a lot of video editorials today for codeforces and Leetcode challenge that have happened just now. So you can consider to, if you like the effort that we are putting in, if you think that this is something that would help the community, if that as a whole, if this would help the Indian programmers or everyone else, so you can consider to share it with your friends, right? And thanks a lot for watching. Like both the codes are available in the description of this video, and if there is some friend who you think that they might get benefited from it, so you can share it with someone with whom you are doing pair programming or maybe a group programming kind of thing. So that's it from my side for today. Happy coding. Let's meet tomorrow with a new problem of the day.